Today I want to show you how I make easy Hawaiian rolls for my family. I don't do it often, actually I've only done it once, but we're having a special meal tonight, or not really special, but anyways, my son wanted me to make these, so I'm going to show you how. I got this recipe off of bakeatmidnight.com. I will put a link in the description box below, and I'm going to get started showing you how I make these rolls. I'm going to double the recipe, so I'm just going to say how much you're supposed to use, but I'm going to use how much that I need to double it. So it's 1 cup warm water or pineapple juice, and I use pineapple juice. Okay, and then 1/3 cup of sugar. 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. 3/4 teaspoon of salt. 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm using olive oil because that's what we use most of the time. And then 3 cups of flour, but like I said, I'm using more because I am doubling the recipe. So I put my flour in. Well, I don't know why I just did that. Put it down here. I go ahead and put all of my flour in before I start mixing because it's just easier for me that way to do it. What I probably should have done is put my bowl on the actual machine afterwards, but that'll work. Okay, I'm gonna lift my machine and I'm gonna mix it for just a few minutes on level 2. This mixer says only level 1 or 2 for making bread with the dough hook. You don't need to do it anymore because it can burn up your machine. Mix it like this until it's like it bounces back, kind of. It's gonna form a ball kind of in here, and it's gonna bounce back. This recipe has instructions for doing it by hand with a machine such as this or a bread machine, and I have a choice. I could do it either way, and I chose this. Now, that looks good to me. The dough is a little bit sticky. I may, after I look at it, I may have to add a little bit more flour. Anybody who ever cooks with yeast dough, usually, it's according to the humidity, it's according to where you live, it's according to a lot of things. Sometimes you may have to add just a tiny, tiny bit more flour. And yes, my hands are gross, but they actually work on it before I touch the bread. But I think that this will be okay. No, I'm going to add just about 1/4 cup more of flour and see if that helps it. It just doesn't quite look like I want it to, so I'm going to grab the flour. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more flour in here. Trying to wear flour. Okay, that looks more like it's supposed to look. I'm much happier with it now. And that was probably about another little bit over a quarter of a cup, but then again, that was me using it for two batches, or doubling the recipe anyway. And this is what it will look like. You form it into, it'll be much easier to form it if it's one batch, because you won't have to deal with holding so much. But this is what it looks like. It kind of bounces back a little. Okay, and now the next step is you put oil in the bowl, and I'm just going to use some spray. And Selena, will you bring me the one of my tea towels or little towels? If I can get it all, it'll all work out. Anyway, put it in there. Spray a little bit more on top, and then you cover it with a towel for 1 to 1.5 hours until it doubles. And I'll get back to you when it doubles. Okay, it's been an hour and a half, and the next step is to turn your dough out onto a floured surface, but I don't use floured surface. I just spray a little spray on my surface and use that. And I'm going to split this in half just so I'll have a little bit more space to work. And what you do is you spray your pan and have it ready for you, and then you words have escaped me. Let me look at my thing. Let's see. Okay, you roll it into a 9-inch long log, and this is longer than a 9-inch, I know that, but you roll it up. And this is going to make a lot more than what it says, because I'm using the other thing. And then you cut it into rolls, and I want rolls that are about that size. Some of those are a little bit bigger than others, but that's okay. I'll show you how I do the rest of it in a moment. Go ahead and get this one. Okay, so now you take this and you kind of just make it into like a little roll. Make sure you have your underside nice, and you place them in your pan. And it does not matter if they're touching each other, but they do need space. I mean, if they're touching each other a little bit, that's okay. But they need space to rise again, because we're going to do this, and we're going to cover them again, and we're going to let them rise for another 45 minutes. And once we're done with that step, we will preheat our oven to 350 and bake them for 15 to 20 minutes. These rolls I am making a little bit larger than I normally do, so they may need to bake just a tiny bit longer. See, I've got a couple of smaller rolls there. Spray it for me. So I'm going to take this large one and I'm going to add it to that one. That's enough. Ooh, child. You were spraying a lot. Okay. We have used these rolls to eat like ham sandwiches, for just like dinner rolls, for all sorts of things. And We really like them. Okay, so what we have here are 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's 16 rolls here. We're going to cover them and we're going to let them rise for another 45 minutes. I'm going to place these in the oven and I'm going to bake them for 15 to 20 minutes until they kind of sound hollow when you tap them on the bottom. At 350. Okay, now the rolls have baked and they're ready to come. They're ready to come out, and this is what they look like. And the last step is to take a stick of butter and rub on each one. And then place them on the cooling rack to cool off. And that's all. Today I'm going to show you how I make easy Hawaiian rolls. Start over.